Today, we are diving deep into one of the wildest, most cinematic passages in the entire Bible, the locusts from the abyss in the book of Revelation. But here's the twist. We're going to look at a really compelling historical interpretation that says these aren't some far-off future nightmare. No, it argues they're a coded description of the Roman army. So, let's get into it.
I mean, think about that for a second. Could a prophecy from the first century actually be a play-by-play of a real-world military campaign? If so, that changes everything. It turns this apocalyptic vision into a kind of coded commentary on the terrifying events happening right in John's own time.
Okay, so it starts with a trumpet blast, very dramatic, and then a star falls from the sky. But notice this isn't just a rock, it's a him, some kind of being. And he's handed something incredibly powerful, a key to what's called the bottomless pit.
And the moment that key turns, everything changes. This massive plume of smoke erupts. It's so thick, so huge, it's like the smoke from a giant furnace, and it literally blots out the sun and darkens the air. You can just feel how suffocating and terrifying this moment would be.
Then, crawling out of this choking darkness come the locusts. But right away, we know these are not your normal crop-eating insects. They have a totally different kind of power, the power to cause pain, like a scorpion's sting. This is something else entirely.
And this is where it gets super specific, and frankly, really weird. These locusts are given an order that is the complete opposite of what real locusts do. Don't touch the plants, they're told. Instead, you have a very specific target, a certain group of people. Now, hold on to that thought, because we are about to jump from prophecy straight into history.
And we land right here, 70 AD, Judea. This is happening around the same time the book of Revelation was probably being written. We're not in some mystical dimension anymore. This is a real place, a real time, and it's smack in the middle of a brutal, bloody war.
So what was going on? Well, it was all-out war. A huge rebellion had exploded against the Roman Empire, and Rome sent their best general, a guy named Vespasian, to crush it. His legions started in the north, in a region called Galilee, and just torched everything as they marched south. And they all had one final target in their sights, the heart of the revolt, the city of Jerusalem.
All right, so let's start putting the pieces of this puzzle together. Let's take the prophecy and the history and lay them side by side. First up, who or what was that star that fell from heaven? Now, when you hear falling star, your mind probably jumps straight to Satan, right? A fallen angel. But the interpretation we're looking at says, hold on a second. Later in Revelation, it's an angel, a messenger of God, not a demon, who has the key to this pit. So in this view, the star is an evil, it's an agent of God's judgment. And that key he's holding? Well, it's not a literal key to a literal hole. It's a symbol for permission, for authority. It's basically the divine green light for the final, devastating stage of the war to begin. The judgment on Jerusalem has officially been unlocked. Okay, so the key is turned. The judgment is unleashed. But what about that giant cloud of smoke that blocks out the sun? What on earth could that have been in the real world of 70 AD?
This is where the historical connection gets incredibly vivid. According to this theory, if you were in Judea at that time, looking north toward Galilee, you would have seen it. A massive, dark pillar of smoke dominating the horizon. The smoke from all the towns and villages the Roman army was burning to the ground as they marched south, straight for Jerusalem.
And what comes out of that smoke? The locusts. This is the central image of the whole vision. This is the big one. So what were the locusts? Get this, 80,000 Roman troops. Can you even picture that many soldiers? An overwhelming force. And if you were watching from a distance as they marched out from under that blanket of smoke, they would have looked like a single, terrifying, crawling swarm covering the land. And when you put the two side by side, the parallels are, well, they're pretty startling. The prophecy says locusts came out of the smoke with the power to hurt. History tells us the Roman army marched out of a burning Galilee with the power to conquer. The prophecy says they swarmed upon the earth. But what does the earth really mean here? And this part is absolutely crucial for this whole interpretation to work. In the original language, the word we read as earth can also just mean the land, as in a specific region or territory. So this isn't about some global, planet-wide apocalypse. It's zoomed in, focused entirely on a local event in the lands of Israel. Which finally brings us back to the strangest part of the prophecy. That very specific, Very odd command that was given to these locusts.
Yeah, remember that? They were ordered not to harm the grass or the trees or any green thing. I mean, that's the one thing locusts do. It's completely unnatural for an insect swarm. But it makes perfect sense for an army that's shifting its military strategy.
And here it is, the historical linchpin. After burning Galilee, the Roman legions changed their tactics. They stopped their scorched earth campaign and focused all their might on one thing, laying siege to the city of Jerusalem. The prophecy says the locusts were to attack only those who did not have the seal of God. And get this, historical sources say that the early Christians, taking prophecy as a warning, had already fled the city before the siege began. That left Jerusalem packed with rebels and refugees, the unsealed, who were now the sole targets of the Roman army. The prophecy's bizarre command perfectly mirrors the army's final objective.
So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? When we ground these epic, almost psychedelic visions in the actual soil of history, they don't lose their power. Not at all. They just gain a whole new kind of power. They become this vivid, coded account of one of the most traumatic events in ancient history. And it forces us to ask, what other secrets might be hiding in these ancient texts, just waiting for us to find the right historical key?